My heart rages around like an ocean in my head, because there are so many things that I left unsaid. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that is not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, now I'll find you in my dreams. My heart rages around like an ocean in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that is not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, now I'll find you in my dreams. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that is not reality.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, friends. We just finished up with a virtual school a while ago. These mornings, man, I've been going to bed too late. And these mornings are kicking my butt. Not to mention, did I tell you guys what my thyroid level was? I don't think I told you guys. When I went for my checkup last week, oh my God, my thyroid tanked. Like kaput. It's a wonder I'm even upright. That's what my doctor said. Anyway, so listen to this real quick and then we'll get started. Okay? Let me make sure you guys can hear me. You guys can hear me, right? 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 I think you can hear me. Somebody give me a thumbs up or something if you can hear me. Black coffee again this morning. Okay, you can hear. Good deal. All right. So the normal TSH level is supposed to be anywhere from like the low end is 0.5 and the high end is like 5, like 5.0. 5.0, which is 5, right? Let me drill that in. 5. Mine was 108. 108. Right? That is why I hardcore struggle through the week. Right, Patricia? Ideal is somewhere between like 0.5 and 5. Like it should be middle of the road is good. So 108 is what my number said. So she doubled my thyroid medicine. I'm like, but is that even enough? And she said, well, let's double it for now. Wait the 6 to 8 weeks or whatever for blood work. See what it says. And we'll probably have to increase it. But anyway. And not to mention that thyroid, my blood pressure has went through the whole roof, like it's smoking out the chimney. But anyway, she did double my blood pressure medicine also. But man, I've just felt like poop. Like I don't feel physically, well, I feel physically horrible, right? But not like sick or nothing like that. It's just on the weekends, I do not hardly get up out of my chair. And when I'm done in the evenings, I hit my chair, and that's where I'm at. I've been on the struggle bus. So, anyway, that is that. Patricia said, whoa, that's crazy. I feel terrible in the teens. Yeah, the dragging through the day. It's horrible. All right. So, but that's why I've been dragging on. Like, I get up through the week about 6. I set my alarm for about 6:30. But by the time I fall asleep, I can't get myself to go to bed. Like, I try, and I can't. So, which makes no sense, right? You're tired, you should be able to crash. But by the time, like, I get my second wind, you know what I mean? And by second wind, I mean not wanting to fall asleep. But that does not mean that my second wind means I'm up cleaning the house. No, my house has fallen to parts and pieces. Like, I have zero energy to clean the house. Oh, hey, Kel. No, I mean, being here is like, at least I can be somewhat productive here at my desk, right? But, hey, Gina. Hey. For me, bone tired and sleepy are two different things. Yeah, they are. They are. 100%. Because I can sit on my phone and watch YouTube videos and not fall asleep, right? Or play Township and not fall asleep. Like, I'll lay there, like, eyes wide open, but I don't want to move, you know? So, anyway. All right. Let's scroll up to the tippy top. Let me share my screen. Share. He looks like he's wearing the same suit that he had on yesterday. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, with him being so clean cut and stuff, I would think, you know. Let me go up and say hey to everybody, though. Hey, Sherry. Good morning, sweetheart. Hey, Miss King and Donnie. I have to sing y'all in. You know how it is. And Miss Gina. Ween, baby. She's here with the duck. Yeah, we're feeding the ducks. I'm sure at some point today we'll have to use the feeding the duck intermission music, right? P. Lola, hey, lovely. Good morning for those of you from RA's chat, dear Sharon McDonald, Maud. Has passed away. Rest in peace, dear friend. Our communities are filled with faceless friends, and we love deeply in friendship. I'm sorry. That's awful. That is awful. Lots of love and hugs and thoughts and prayers. Wow. Donnie said, of course, I thought about this case all night. I know. Margaret's being chauffeured to work. At 7:18 in the morning? What time do you have to be there? Jeez. Um, let me see. Let me see. Uh, I'm just catching up in the chat. Donnie says, I'd like to tell my brain 2 is not the time to go to sleep. Right, P. Lola, 2 members in 9 days. I heard about Ricky. Awful. I don't know if he's in custody, Donnie. I think so. I think he is. Yeah, he is. He is. Yes. He is. 7:30 is when you start. Okay. My days are rolling over on the phone. Hold on a minute. Sorry about that. That was the hospital calling me to schedule a test. That's something else. My doctor wanted me to have an echocardiogram. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I get to go Friday at 2 p.m. for an echocardiogram. Anyway, I've been waiting on that phone call for them to call and schedule that. So, there we go. P. Lola's like, is she giving us the finger? No. Jenny is like, yes, my community knows my TSH number. We are all mourning Jenny's awakeness because she has no peep, no pep in her step. Yeah, zero pep in my step. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. And you know what? To throw on top of the whole blood pressure, can we just stop for a second? Women, let's talk about this. Thyroid, blood pressure, and perimenopause. I do not appreciate it. I do not appreciate it. We're here to entertain you. So, here, let me draw a big giant heart around my echo test. Friday, 2 p.m. Somebody will have to remind me. I'm kidding. Nobody has to remind me, but anyway. All right. What was I saying before they so rudely interrupted? I do not know. I think I was reading Margaret's chat. She said my days of rolling over on the phone and zapping people in chat are over. That's true. That's true. Okay, so let's get started with this. We are a few minutes behind, so let's get going. Let me get the trigger warning banner up, and I'm going to hit the play button.
Okay, I understand that y'all have y'all need to take something up with the court before we bring the jury back in.
Yes, Your Honor. We had a chance to meet with defense counsel yesterday as we are about to call a forensic technician
Morgana.
that processed the scene at 122 Canebrake. She was responsible for taking all the photographs of the scene as it was. And like I said, we went through each of them with defense counsel, and there are a few where they've raised an objection that specifically states Exhibit 63, 64, 65, and 66. And I'll pass them up next to the court. I'm also going to pass up to Your Honor
Thank you.
A copy of State v. Haight or Hawes, and that is 423. That is 423 SC 118. With a copy of defense counsel as well. The state believes that based on Hawes and based on the circumstances of this case, that the specific photograph should be introduced to the jury as is. State v. Hawes is a very similar case with regard to the cause of death, and that it was a stabbing death, and the Supreme Court confirmed that the admission of the photographs was proper, and I'll direct the court specifically to Head Note 6, where the photographs of the victim who was stabbed to death should have been admitted. It was not an abuse of discretion where they went to show the circumstances of the crime scene and the location of the body. They go towards the issue of malice in this case. The state intends to elicit testimony from the forensic technician as to the significance of where the body was found, the actions that were likely to have taken after Ms. Parcell was stabbed with regard to the body, and the significance of what the blood pattern indicated. Again, I believe Stacey Hawes is on point with this specific issue, and especially where we are offering testimony to extrapolate inferences that we would provide to the jury as to the circumstances surrounding Ms. Parcells' death.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, our position is just under a 403 analysis. I'm not sure there's any, I'm not sure what the relevance is. They say it goes to malice, but they can certainly describe the crime scene without having to show those photographs. So I would say under a 403 analysis, very little probative value to those pictures, and whatever probative value is outweighed by the potential prejudicial effect. I would also note the state has prepared for 2 of those photographs. They've prepared another set of photographs with the deceased blocked out of the photograph. So if Your Honor does see probative value, we would ask that those be substituted for the those 2 photographs. And I would also add, they have other photographs of that room that are taken from a wider angle and from that are not close-ups of the of those areas that they are seeking to point out. So we would ask that that those other photographs that they have, which I think they can show to the court if the court needs to see them, but they would be sufficient to point out what they want to show to the jury.
I mean, obviously, this is the first time I'm looking at the photos. What is, I guess, the difference between 63 and 64 is you've got the victim is in it.
That's correct, Your Honor. These photographs all go to show, and what the state's going to argue, is the actions that were taken after Ms. Parcells was stabbed, and it specifically goes towards the placement and the actions taken towards her body after that stabbing. As you know, the state is charged with proving premeditation to this murder. The actions that the state is alleging Mr. Hughes took, obviously during this incident, but afterwards, are highly probative to show his state of mind and the deliberation that he took before committing this murder and the steps that he took afterwards. In a normal instance, if this were simply a spur of the moment stabbing or an instance where there isn't evidence, or the state would proffer that there is evidence in this case that actions were taken after the act itself to go to show premeditation, I could see where it would be a different analysis. But these specific photographs are clearly probative of those actions that we are arguing that Mr. Hughes took in this instance. So again, the state would argue that while we do have several photographs that show different angles, they are all probative. And I don't believe that the danger of unfair prejudice or spurring the emotions of the jury substantially outweighs that probative value that we're putting forth to the jury.
Okay. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll be back, okay?
And Your Honor, we would ask that there are some other photographs that we are not objecting to. We would ask that Your Honor be allowed to view those as well, so you can look at those in conjunction with the ones you've been given to see if those are necessary as the state says. And also, I would just add that premeditation is not an element of murder, so they don't. I think that's not a correct statement to say they have to prove premeditation.
Yeah, I'm happy to pass these up for your review.
Any response to that?
I will say that
Malice is definitely
an element that the state is charged with proving, and evidence to that effect is obviously extremely valuable. And the evidence from this crime scene is a huge portion of what the state wants to offer to the jury for them to make that inference as to malice in this murder. So again, I passed up all the photographs of the specific crime scene that the state intends to introduce, as well as the 2 photos upon Your Honor's ruling that those 2 specific photos need to be redacted. We have done that.
Well, you've redacted 67 and 68, and those are coming in by agreement.
Well, only if you rule the other ones are not.
I got you.
You would think so, Ween, baby, by now.
Yes, we would not have an objection to the ones where the deceased is blocked out of the photograph.
Okay.
They did really good yesterday. I have the volume all the way up. Maybe AirPods would help. Unless you already have them in. So they go to their break. Apparently, he's gonna decide on the images they were talking about. It sounds like. Wonder how long his break is gonna be. Looks like a long one. Because we are now live in real time. Kel said, when I can't hear, I point my phone speaker at something and the sound is amplified because it bounces off the object. I do that too. I do the same thing. Or I'll take my phone and cup it, cup the corner of it or whatever. But usually if you set it on something, the sound bounces off, makes it a little louder. That definitely helps. Wasn't there some kind of trick that people were using? What was that? Something about putting your phone inside of a tin can or a metal coffee canister or something to increase the sound. Seems like I remember vaguely something about that on Pinterest from years ago. Ooh, an empty toilet paper roll. To make a DIY phone holder. Gina said when I'm in the car, putting it in the cup holder helps. Speaking of, I have tried a couple different ones. The one I've got currently is junk. But I need a really good, and I've looked at them through the years and read reviews and watched video. I'm picky. But I think it would be, I really need a really good cell phone holder in my car. Did they just call their first witness? Oh, wow. That was a big smile and a wink. Did you see that? He smiled and winked. That was weird. Watch. In case you missed it. Watch. That was very interesting. Because you don't get that from him very at all. It's the first time I've seen him smile.
Please stop at the end of the bench. Place your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Thank you. Please be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Caitlin Ford.
Ms. Ford, good morning.
Good morning.
Could you tell the jury where you currently are employed?
I work at Albuquerque Police Department.
And what do you do for them?
I'm a crime scene specialist.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that for the Albuquerque Police Department?
About 2 years.
She's got some major wing liner going on.
Where were you working in 2021?
Here at Greenville County Forensics
And what specific role?
as a forensic technician.
And could you describe for the jury, what kind of actions you take, what your duties are as a forensic technician when you were with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office?
So we respond to crime scenes within the county limits. Depending on the crime scene, we can do things such as take photographs, process for fingerprints, collect evidence, just depending on what that specific scene is.
So it's safe to say that collection of evidence on specific crime scenes is one of your primary roles?
Correct.
And same thing would be taking pictures in accordance with that?
Yes,
duty? Were you in that role on October 13th of 2021?
I was.
And how are you involved with the present case specifically related to the crime scene on October 13th of 2021?
I was the primary crime scene investigator for this case.
Okay. So you were tasked with processing the home at 122 Canebrake?
I was.
And in your role as a forensic technician,
I
are
know,
you
Pila, I was thinking the
conducted
same thing.
trainings and continued education for that role?
Yes, I have my bachelor's in science and forensic and investigative science. In the past, I've held certifications in bloodstain pattern analysis and fingerprint analysis, and I am currently part of a specialized unit called the Major Crime Scene Team in Albuquerque that responds to all homicides and officer-involved incidents.
Approximately how many crime scenes do you process in a given year?
I would say over 400.
Okay. So, can you describe for this jury, specifically related to October 13th of 2021, what your process was on arriving at 122 Canebrake and the steps you took with your specific role?
So when I arrived on scene, I met with officers and detectives on scene just to get a brief run through of what was going on. After that point, myself and officers did an initial walkthrough of the scene just to see the layout of the house and where things were located.
So, when you were doing the layout of the house and going through there, did you take photographs of the outside of the house?
Yes,
And if I show those to you, would you recognize them?
I would.
I'm gonna
Well,
show
we
defense
maybe they
counsel
also
what is
did
State's
amp the
Exhibit
volume up a little
69
bit.
Through
But
84.
honestly, earbuds do always help. The new generation of Crime Stoppers, right? Good for her to go into such a cool career at such an early age, man.
First witness was 69 through 84. Could you take your time, review those, and let me know if those are the pictures that you took of the outside of the Canebrake home?
Yes, these are the photographs that I took of the exterior.
So that was what the Canebrake home looked like when you arrived on the scene October 13th of 2021?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would move into evidence State's Exhibit 69 through 84.
Counsel? No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 69 through 84.
Ms. Ford, I'm going to go through these with you. And if you like, I have a pointer here, and you can use it. Starting with State's Exhibit 69. Okay. What is State's Exhibit 69 a picture of?
So that is a photograph of the gray Lexus that was parked in the driveway.
Were you able to identify in the course of the investigation there who was driving the gray Lexus that day?
Yes, it was the victim.
Showing you State's Exhibit 70.
That was the red Mercedes that was parked in the driveway as well.
Who is driving that vehicle?
Mr. Post.
State's Exhibit 71.
That is the front side of the residence showing the windows along the front door.
72.
That is a close-up of the front door.
73.
That is a photograph of the exterior side of the front door handle.
74.
That is the gate on the right side of the residence. If you're standing facing it from the roadway, just showing the gate into the backyard area.
So is that, are you staring at Canebrake Drive there?
Yes,
Is that the red Mercedes in the driveway?
yes.
75.
That is the photograph of the back or side door of the residence.
And at this time, had the initial deputies already gone through the house?
Yes,
76.
that is a photograph of the backyard.
And so would this be looking to the opposite side that we were just reviewing, where the driveway, so
Yeah.
away from the driveway?
Yes, away from the driveway.
77.
That is a photograph if you were standing at that gate that we just viewed, looking at the end of the end of the backyard.
78.
That is just showing a close-up of the creek and what you can see from the backyard.
Okay. We're going to go to State's Exhibit 80.
That is the gate on the opposite side of the house, leading into the backyard.
So that's looking into the backyard.
Yes,
81.
that is just showing another close-up of the backyard along with the second-story porch.
82.
That is a photograph of the nook that is underneath the second-story porch in the back side of the house.
Now you called it a nook.
Yes,
If I'm standing on Canebrake Drive, can I see somebody under there?
no, you cannot.
And if I'm standing, let me go back to State's Exhibit 78. In the backyard there, what was the collection of houses like, I'll say, with relation to the backyard of the house?
It was
Or how close in proximity were other neighbors?
They weren't that close. They were separated by both of their own backyards, including that woodsy area and a creek.
Go to State's Exhibit 83.
So that's just another close-up
Hey,
of that
good
nook
morning,
area.
Cynthia. Good morning. Good morning.
State's Exhibit 84.
Good to see
And
you,
now we
ma'am.
moved out into the front
Hi.
yard, and that's just showing a broader photograph of that gate on the left side of the house.
So from where you're standing there, taking State's Exhibit 84, could you see into that nook there that we were just reviewing?
No, you cannot.
Donnie says so pretty green. I missed that. Mm.
After reviewing the outside of the house, did you thereafter go inside the house and do the same process of taking photographs and reviewing the inside of the house?
Yes.
If I showed you those photographs, would you recognize?
Okay, so just a heads up here. You know, I don't know. Hopefully they, you know, I mean, I'm going to be full out honest. I personally appreciate seeing the crime scene photos because that's the nosiness in me, right? But I also know that some people don't. And I know that they try to not do that, but sometimes things sneak in. And so just giving a fair warning that we may see things that we can't unsee. Okay? Okay.
Yes.
Now, should defense counsel.
I know,
what is
well,
State's
maybe me
Exhibit
too.
40, or excuse me, 40, let me get this right.
Right, we
States
baby.
38 through 62, and states 63 and 66.
Same. I feel the same way. Mm. We need to know the extent of evil that lives amongst us. She's cute. Pretty. She's not cute. She's pretty. No, Donnie said that was kind of ominous. Sorry. No. No, the silly face at the end made it kind of neutral. You know, you even things out with the smiley or the funny face. I swear my phone lives in low power mode. Anybody
Showing you
else?
the same. Could you please review those and let me know if those are the photos you took?
Plug it in. Plug it in. Plug it in. I'm in low power mode too. Just saying.
Yes, these are the photographs that I took.
I live in low power
That was the state of
mode.
the scene when you entered that day?
Yes.
You too,
At
Cynthia?
this time, the state moves into evidence, State's Exhibit 38
All right.
through
Here we go.
62, as well as 63 and 66.
I'm sorry, you're in one moment, please. Your Honor, just subject to our objections that we discussed earlier and the reasons behind so on Exhibits 63 and 66, no other objection.
Okay, and you're protected on the record.
Overruled.
38 through 62, comes into evidence as well as 63 and 66.
Same thing, Board, I'm gonna go through these with you one by one. Walk through the house with you. Show you State's Exhibit 40.
So that is a photograph of the interior side of the front door, which is in a room that I referred to in my report as the front sitting room.
The city.
Yes.
Exhibit 38.
That is a close-up of the door handle to that front door, showing that it was in the locked position.
Which means he locked it when he left.
Exhibit 39.
So this is a photograph of the interior of that front sitting room, where you can see the victim and you can see some apparent drag marks as well.
It's Exhibit 41.
That is just a different view of the same thing, showing there are stains, apparent blood stains on the couch, as well as the pulling underneath of the couch, the drag marks, and you can see right there is one of the flower stems.
So there were stems.
So you noted, you said drag marks.
Yes.
In this photo. Could you explain that a little bit more, how you derived that, based on the pattern of the blood that is displayed in this photo?
So yes, as I referred to earlier, there's a pool of blood right there underneath of the couch.
They're not gone
From that
to
pool of blood,
Ween
that
Baby.
blood being on the victim's clothing when she
I was under the impression there were no flower stems, though. Why did I think that? I thought it was just rose petals, but apparently there were actually, like, what did he do? Bring in a whole dozen roses? Stems and all?
she was moved from that original location, it created the drag marks that you can see there on the floor. And then on top of these drag marks right here are what we refer to as drip stains. That just means that an object or
Good question,
person or thing
Pilala.
that had blood on it, that blood volume dripped on top of those drag marks.
You know what, Donnie? I never thought about that. I did not think about that. That is a great question. I had not thought about that. That is a great question. That's a great question.
Specifically where they are, is this what you're referring to right here?
Yes.
Okay. Showing you State's Exhibit 42.
So that is a close-up of the victim's right hand, mainly noting the chipped thumb fingernail, which is something that really stood out to me on scene.
Why does that stand out to you?
Broken fingernails can be a sign of a defensive, that the person tried to defend themselves. So that's what that broken fingernail kind of
Oh,
portrayed to
wow.
me.
Are fingernails,
Wow.
something you commonly collect in processing a murder scene?
Yes, it's standard procedure, but considering that one of them was broken, it became apparent that we really need to focus on those fingernails.
Okay. Showing you State's Exhibit 49.
So this is another photograph of that far wall in the sitting room, again, just showing that blood
Oh,
pooling
Gina,
underneath the couch.
right.
And then in this photograph, you can also see some more of the rose petals and
Right.
the leaves that are leading into the hallway.
Wow. So they are going to
Were you
show
able
some
to
scene
find,
photos.
The victim's phone at the scene?
Yes, the victim's phone, it's kind of hard to see, but it is right there in that blood pool.
Right here?
Yes,
Were you able to collect it?
yes, it was collected.
Who did you subsequently give it to?
I gave it to Investigator Starkman.
Okay. I want to bring your attention specifically to the couch.
Yes.
There. What do you notice about the accumulation of blood, and what the significance of the location of the blood as it relates to the couch?
So with that blood volume being located there, we call that a pooling of blood. The coagulation of the blood tells
yeah,
me that
October.
that a major artery
Yeah.
was hit, and that also that is the site of where the initial incident occurred. Along with that, you can see some disturbances in the blood there that also signifies that the couch was most likely moved after the incident.
I'll show you State's Exhibit 50.
So this is a close-up of that couch and coffee table area, showing the flower
There's the
stems
flower
that were partially
stems.
located underneath of that orange pillow and underneath of the table. And it is also showing additional blood spatter that was caused. The location of that blood spatter, since it goes under the table, and the size and shape of those blood stains showed me that the table was also moved back into place after the incident.
Is that the victim's phone there in the bottom corner?
Yes.
I'll show you State's Exhibit 46.
So this is a close-up of those rose petals and leaves that are leading from the doorway to the sitting room from the hallway of the house.
State's Exhibit 45.
So that is the view of the sitting room from the hallway, just again showing those rose petals and leaves.
So that's the hallway looking towards the front door?
Yes.
Weird.
State's Exhibit 43.
So this is a photograph of the hallway while standing in the living room, just showing how some of those flower petals go into the hallway, and also the discarded pair of sunglasses that was located in the hallway as well.
State's Exhibit 47.
This is a photograph from a further point in the living room, again, just showing that entryway into the sitting room in the hallway.
So inside, that is the sitting room in that room.
Correct.
I'll show you State's Exhibit 51.
So this is a photograph from on top of that console table sitting in the sitting room where the victim's purse had been located, and it's just showing that some of the rose petals and stems had made it onto that table.
State's Exhibit 52.
This is showing the victim's purse that I was just referencing, and showing that the rose petals were also inside of her purse.
Ms. Ford, approximately how many murder scenes have you processed?
Say close to 150.
Okay. You ever found flowers near the body?
No.
And I'm just gonna go back really quick, 52. To the location of these flowers, were there some found inside her purse?
Yes.
And inside the items on top of the table?
Yes.
Hey, Henny.
State's Exhibit 53.
So that's just another vantage point from the sitting room of all of the rose petals and the leaves that were located in that doorway.
I'll show you State's Exhibit 54.
So that is a blood stain that was located on the wall by the curtains on that front wall of the sitting room.
Were the curtains opened or closed?
The curtains were closed.
55.
So that is a close-up just with scale of that blood stain. That blood stain to me appears to be what we refer to as a transfer stain, meaning that an object or thing with blood on it touched a surface that did not have blood on it.
56.
That is a close-up of one of the gray sitting chairs next to that window on the front side of the sitting room, just showing the blood drops that had gotten into the surface of that chair.
57.
This shows those blood drips that I was referring to earlier near that gray chair. The reason that those are so significant is because they are farther away from that initial pooling that we saw underneath the couch. So what that means is that the shape of those blood drops tells me they're about 80 to 90 degrees, which means that an object with blood on it was directly over that area of the floor when that blood drop was created.
Probably the knife.
58. Where is this in that room?
That is over by the wall where those curtains and windows are located.
And that's the same, you're talking about the angle with which this blood was most likely transferred. That's different than what you were saying the drag marks were in the earlier exhibits?
Yes, drip stains are created by a blood drop just falling in motion from gravity, kind of if you had a nosebleed and the blood was just falling out of your nose. Because that area of the living room was so far away from the initial blood pool, that was not caused from the incident. It was most likely caused, again, like I said, from an object or a thing.
Please, the court, I would object to the opinion testimony that's being offered. I mean, this witness has not been offered as an expert, nor do crime scene techs get offered as or qualified as experts. The
Overruled.
pictures all speak for themselves, so I would object to opinion testimony being offered.
She's testified to her experience in processing hundreds of these scenes and the training she's had. While this is not being offered as expert testimony, she's speaking to her rationally based perception of the angle that these blood droplets came from. As to Mr. Moyer's concern, it's right for cross-examination if he wants to.
Miss King,
offer
I
a
wonder.
contrary opinion or
The thing
pry
is,
into,
though,
why she
the
derives her
only
opinion, but
issue that I have with that is the footage that we saw of him walking through the front door. Wouldn't he have, like, had them in his hand? Like, we don't see anything. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know. Also, it makes me wonder if the roses were used as a weapon. How so, Ween Baby? So they weren't sprinkled, they were scattered. Right, okay, see, that kind of makes, I'm kind of like, I would want to know from the sister, like, were there roses in the house already? And she grabbed or had them in her hand. But did she come home with them? You know what I'm saying? Like, did she stop somewhere and was like, oh, these are pretty. Let me just get a little bouquet. Like someone was hitting the other with the roses. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendos, she's like, you know, blah, blah, you know, just slinging these roses everywhere. Because if it was a ritualistic thing and he's sprinkling them around to make it look all, you know, romanticized or whatever, why would they be in her purse and on that basket where the frontline dog flea stuff was at? You know what I mean? Why would they be in her purse? Like, it looks like, and the leaves are scattered on the floor. That's not a, like, when you sprinkle something to make it look a certain way, you don't use the leaves usually. And they just look like, yeah, and stems everywhere. It just kind of looks like somebody beat somebody about the face and neck with a dozen roses and stems and leaves and flowers went everywhere, you know. I don't know.
she's simply speaking to her experience.
I'm going to overrule your objection. It's noted.
Now, I might change my
So as I
mind.
was saying, those blood drops
I hope maybe we'll see photos of them actually being sprinkled. Maybe
were
in
most
his
likely created
haste
from an object or a thing that was in that area.
to get out of there, maybe it was a little messy than it could have been.
Exhibit 60.
So that is showing a clump of hair suspected to be the victim's
Oh,
that was
God.
found in an area of blood in the sitting room.
Is that area of blood what you described as the drag marks?
Yes.
I'm wondering that too,
Show
Ween
State's
Baby.
Exhibit 62.
I mean, if
So
there
that is
was,
a blood stain that was located on that interior side of the front door. That is, once again, what we refer to as a transfer stain, meaning that an object that had blood on it touched a surface that did not.
Finally, State's Exhibit 66.
So this is a photograph of that front sitting room again, where you can see the victim that's located at the end of that drag trail, and additionally another smaller pool of blood, just signifying that wounds were still bleeding at that time.
I assume so, Donnie. But I don't know that for sure.
So you spoke to flowers that were found at the crime scene. Did you collect those and identify those?
I did,
If I showed you pictures of those, would you recognize them?
yes.
The only reason that they had, the only reason there was footage of that, of him, whoever he is, walking through the front door from yesterday's surveillance video is because the person across the road's camera is motion detected, but it wasn't him that was causing the motion detection to come on. It was that white car that drove by. So, and it just so happened at that time when it came on because of the motion from the car driving by the road, it also caught him walking in the front door. Now, if they would have had pictures of him leaving out the front door, I would think that they would have shown it yesterday, but I don't know.
5 through 93.
I really need to go heat my coffee up. It's already cold.
Showing you what is State's Exhibit 85 through 93. So those photographs that you took of the flowers, or some of the photographs that you took?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, this time the state moves into evidence, State's Exhibit 85 through 93.
No objection, Your Honor.
Without objection, 85 through 93 comes into evidence.
Ween
State's
Baby.
Exhibit 86.
Wow.
So that is a bundle, those are bundled stems with a rubber band that were located underneath of that orange pillow in the living room.
So that rubber band was on those stems,
Yes,
on collection.
yes.
87.
That is just a different view of those same stems showing the leaves.
89.
So that is a close-up of one of the flowers that was found on the sitting room floor.
Yeah, I know, Ween Baby. I mean, change
You said
me.
wildflower.
Change my mind. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is a wildflower,
That's
correct.
not a rose.
No,
State's Exhibit 90.
That is just a close-up of that same wildflower, just showing the coloring on it.
I was gonna say that's not a rose.
I'm going to expand on that a little bit. I'm going to show you States Exhibit 93. Are those the same stem?
No,
So the stem on the right is not a rose?
no, it's a wildflower.
I'm so confused right now.
States
What?
Exhibit 90.
Just another close-up of that wildflower.
So was it a bouquet that had both kinds of flowers in it?
Approximately how many of the wildflowers did you collect?
I'm not sure.
6, say several.
Yes.
Yeah, that didn't look
In your
fresh,
processing of the house,
Miss King, right?
looking through everything, did you find any vases,
No, I did not.
containers for flowers?
No.
Yeah, like a
And in
mixed
processing
bouquet.
that house, I assume, did you take several collections for potentially DNA testing or blood testing?
Yes.
What about fingerprint lifting?
Yes.
Now, if someone's wearing gloves, do they leave fingerprints?
No.
After you process the scene, what are your next steps upon leaving Cane Road?
So I secured all the evidence that I collected, and then the next day I responded to the autopsy.
Okay. Did you take some pictures at the autopsy?
I did.
I'm going to show you States Exhibit 109 and 110. Approaching you with 19 and 110. Are these two of the photographs you took at the autopsy?
Yes.
What do they show?
They're showing the decedent's left hand, which contains her engagement ring.
Your Honor, at this time the state moves into evidence States Exhibit 109 and 110.
Without objection.
Without objection, when I'm not going to
What are your duties when you're at the autopsy? What kind of things are you doing there?
So at autopsies, we take additional photographs of the victim and their injuries, as well as collecting clothing, DNA swabs, otherwise known as buccal swabs, fingernail clippings, head hair samples, and pubic hair samples.
Did you collect buccal swabs and fingernail clippings from Miss Parcell?
I did.
If I showed you those collections, would you recognize them?
Yes.
I'm going to show you States Exhibit 94, 95, 96, and 97.
Yeah, me too, Donnie. Donnie says no paper around the bunch. My spidey sense is saying they were already there. So Miss King brought up a good point. The one wildflower looked old. Like the flower itself looked old. So I'm kind of wondering, okay, maybe her or the sister, are ones who like to keep fresh flowers in the house. There are those people still exist, right? I don't know. Maybe the wildflowers were starting to look old and somebody brought the roses in to freshen them up. I don't know. Well, Ween Baby, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know. I want to see how they were around the body. If they're just strewn all through the house, then they totally sensationalize this. Right, Cynthia, they didn't find any vases. That's true. That's true. But the one bunch of flowers had rubber bands wrapped around it. So it wasn't like that someone who had cut the rubber bands and, sort of put them in a vase and like arranged them. Something else I just thought about, and you guys, I don't know, this is maybe really random. Okay, if there were Ween Baby, right, or maybe she just brought them home or he was fake delivering them. Yeah, Donnie had mentioned that earlier about wonder if he was pretending to be a flower delivery dude. But what if they were already there? You would think that there would be digital, like money trail evidence of that, though. Um, but what if, because I don't know if she was still currently doing like nude esque photos on the computer on a website, could she have possibly been buying them for like staging photos of herself? You know what I'm saying? And they were just there. And so that's why there's no need for the flowers to go in a vase. You know what I'm saying? Just an idea that crossed my mind. I don't know. I don't know. True, she could have just bought them and not put them in a vase yet. No, Ween Baby. No testimony from the sister yet. I'm waiting on that. That ought to be good. I mean, if she testifies, I'm assuming she would. I'm assuming she would.
Showing you 94, 95, 96, and 97. Starting with 94. What is 94?
94 is the fingernail clippings from the victim's right hand.
And could you describe to the jury, when you're
Ween
taking
Baby
these
fell
fingernail
asleep.
clippings and autopsy, what is that process like?
So we have a sterile set of nail clippers that we remove from the packaging. We then place a piece of paper towel underneath of the victim's hands. I use those fingernail clippers to clip the clippings from her left hand, and then I do the same process with a different paper towel from her right hand. Those are packaged individually, and then the fingernail clippers are packaged and submitted as well.
And is that what you did here
Yes.
with both her right and her left hand with respect to 94 and
My
95?
Apple
Yes.
Watch is also on low power mode.
What
Go
about
figure.
96 and 97? What are those?
So these are the buccal swabs that I collected from the victim at the autopsy.
I know we've had some testimony to that effect, but what exactly did you do there to collect those?
So we take a sterile cotton swab and we swab the inside of the person's cheek to collect those cheek cells and get DNA from them.
And you collected 2 of those?
I did.
All right, at this time, the state moves into evidence. State's Exhibit 94 through 97.
No, I object to the introduction at this time, in that the chain of custody has not been established. These are fungible items, so it would not be proper until the chain is established.
Will you be putting them in later to another witness?
We'll have testimony to another witness.
What
but
does
she-
fungible mean?
These items.
Well, and until that time, they'll just remain armed.
Understood.
Put them in.
Transferable. Okay.
On taking these samples, being the fingernail samples and the buccal swabs, what thereafter do you do with them?
I take them and I submit them to our property and evidence section.
Presumably for testing?
Can be
Yes.
easily moved around. Thank you, Donnie.
Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness at this time.
Any cross-examination?
Good morning, Ms. Ford. I just have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
about those flowers that were talked about quite a bit during your testimony. First off, the ones that you testified are not roses. Was any determination made as to what particular species of flowers, what kind of flowers they were?
Just wildflowers,
When you say wildflowers, what exactly do you mean by that?
things that you could just find in someone's yard,
Okay.
just wildly grown in a field.
Okay, and that's just based on your training, or is that based on just your experience of just knowing about flowers?
Just
over the years?
experience about flowers, yeah.
Okay, and the way they were positioned in the house, they were just kind of randomly scattered throughout the house, right?
They were scattered, yes.
Yes, I mean, they weren't in any kind of arrangement or pattern or anything like that.
Yep, they were just scattered.
Okay, one moment, please. Oh, and I'm sorry, just to be clear, when I said scattered, we're talking about the roses and the wildflowers. They were just randomly scattered throughout the house, right?
They were scattered throughout the front sitting room area, yes.
Okay, and so they went basically out into the hallway just a little bit, but it was mainly in that area where the deceased was found, right?
Yes, there were some in the front of the sitting room, and then there were some located near the decedent as well.
Okay. And again, not in any kind of pattern or arrangement or anything like that?
No.
No pattern or arrangement around
Well,
her.
thank you.
Just scattered
No,
around
Your
her.
Honor, we would ask to recall this witness at a later time.
And that would be allowed. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So she'll be brought back later. So that tells me I don't know that the dude even brought him. I'm not so sure.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Eric Turner.
Ween baby, I'm just as disappointed as you are, ma'am. I mean, for all that matter, they could have called it the front sitting room murder. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the rose petal murder. The front sitting room murder. The scattered wildflowers murder. The guy who rode on the bike murder. I mean, make it all juicy, you know, with the rose petal murder. Now it's just an insignificant piece of evidence. Unless proven otherwise later on, I don't know. The trapped under the couch, red rum. After I've done said murder 15 times. Murder, 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 murder.
Please stop at the end of the bench, sir. Please place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Please be seated.
Ooh.
Please state your name.
Good Lord, this
Eric Turner.
man
And Mr. what is
really
your rank?
reminds me
I'm
of
a
somebody.
Deputy.
Deputy?
Yes, sir.
And who do you work
Like
with?
someone I
The
know
Greenville County
personally.
Sheriff's Office.
It's
And what
blowing
do
my
you do for
mind.
Greenville County Sheriff's Office?
I work in the school enforcement unit. I'm a school resource officer for several elementary schools in Greenville County on the east side.
And is that typically called an SRO?
It is,
Is that a
yes,
school
sir.
resource officer?
Yes, sir.
Deputy Turner, I'm gonna refer you back to October 13th, in 2021. Were you working that day?
I was.
And were you
He
called
could
out for
have,
122
Kel.
King
That's a
Road?
good point.
I responded out there, yes, sir.
Can you tell this jury how you responded?
Sure. I was in between schools. I had just left one. Let me go back. At the time, I had 4 elementary schools. So I had just left a school and was actually headed to Buena Vista, right near where the scene was. And so on my way, the call came out. I was close by. I said, hey, I'll run by there and check on it. It's right there at my school. I just want to make sure there wasn't any
Right,
threat
Cynthia.
towards my school.
I agree. It
So,
wasn't
I
very
responded
clear,
there.
but
Notified dispatch that
I would think with the roses being such a bright shade of red, that red color would have popped on that camera footage. Like I think we would have seen that, you know. But Then again, I don't know. Wing Baby says, if anything, it looks like she fought for her life. Yeah. They made it sound like he brought a bag of rose petals with him. Right. I know. I mean, I even said that yesterday. I was like, what did he do? That's what he's got packed in his bag is another hoodie or an outfit to change into in case he was messy, right? The mask, the knife, a bag. I even said a bag of rose petals. And then if he brought the cane with him, the white booger sugar, you know, if that was brought with him to use as to stage it, to make it look like a, you know. I think so too, Wing Baby. Think they might have been there and she used him to fight him off. I think so. I mean, it would make sense if he comes in the house about basically 3 minutes after she arrives, she's probably, you know, I mean, barely had time to do anything. I don't know. Even if he brought them, someone used them. He never sprinkled them, right? It's not like it was, let's make this look like a lover did it, you know?
Was on the way.
About what time did you arrive to the location?
Within, I don't know the exact time, within just a few minutes of the call coming out, I was right behind the first arriving deputy. He was already out of his car.
And once you got there, what did you do?
I stood by with a gentleman later identified as Mr. Post and spoke with him while Deputy Robinson and his trainee went inside to check the residence.
And did you learn that the victim, Christina Parcell, had a daughter?
I did.
And what was your role in regards to her daughter?
So as soon as I found out that she had a daughter, I asked, do you know how old she is, where she goes to school? And he goes, actually, she goes to Buena Vista right there. That being my school, I immediately switched roles and went to, I've got to get to the school to make sure that the school is safe. He gave me just a little bit of background, family background. So I was under the impression, hey, there may be an issue with this child. So I stood by for just a few more minutes and then I left and went to the school to make sure that everything was okay. Prior to me leaving, I actually called our front office at the school and asked, was this student there? And she said, yes, she's here. I said, do not let her leave with anybody. I want the school locked down until I get there. I'll be there in just a minute. So the school handled their protocol, did what they were supposed to do. And then I arrived and made confirmation that she was there, she was in a classroom, and she was safe.
Okay. So, so as soon as you found out about Christina Parcell's daughter, you arrived at the school, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you arrived there, did you talk to anybody?
Just the administration. And they confirmed back to me, hey, she's in the classroom, she's good. I'm like, let's leave her there. I don't want anything to disturb her normal day until we figure out what's going on.
And then how did y'all decide when and how Christina Parcell's daughter was going to leave?
We kind of discussed what was going on. I told them, as far as I was concerned, just let her have a regular day. There's no need to take her out of the class, and let's just let her proceed with her day, leave as normal. I spoke with a couple of the investigators, and it was determined just she can leave with a family member like she normally does. They walk them up to, it's called the front path, goes out of the front of the school, and they walk home because they live right there. And so we just allowed that to proceed on as normal, like she does every day.
Please answer any questions, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
May it please the court. Deputy Turner, you had a body worn camera that day, did you not?
I did, sir.
And did you take steps to record some of the activities that you engaged in or around Canebrake on that afternoon?
I did. As soon as I got out of the car, I believe shortly after getting out, it was on.
So, what time is Buena Vista let out of school typically?
2:15.
Okay. And so, maybe it's a silly question, but on that day when school was let out, Ida would be coming home, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And being a school resource officer, you're familiar with issues related to children's attendance at school, is that correct?
It's really none of my business. If the attendance clerk brings it up, I may do something about it. But
Deputy Turner, if a student at Buena Vista, let's say she didn't want to go home, would the law make her go home?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
I'm just asking if he knows that.
I mean, it has happened before, not with me.
But if a student says, I don't want to go home, I'm not going home, must the student go home?
Again, we're going to look into it, probably contact DSS, get them involved in it, our investigators, our crimes against children investigators, and figure out what's going on, why this child doesn't want to go home, stuff like that.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
It's now a good time to take a little break.
The next witness is going to be quiet, leave the room.
Okay, thank you. You may step down, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a morning break. Again, no discussion about this case amongst yourselves or anyone. And again, thank you for your service. Enjoy your break.
I don't know, you guys. Very, very weird. Very, very weird. He was a nice police officer. Yup. Kel said that was a strange question. I think Kel might be behind a little bit. I'm not sure. So they're on their morning break, or they were. I'm going to fast forward it because we're about 10 minutes behind. All right. Now we're in lab time. Now we're in live time. Oh, okay, Gina. Have a good day, honey. Have a great rest of your day. Okay, Kel's current. Okay, good deal. Good deal, good deal, good deal. I don't know. I'm not, like, the whole reason why I think that she used them to fight back is because they're in her purse. You know what I mean? Just doesn't make sense to me that and they're on that table, that desk that had the little metal baskets in it. Right? I just don't. I'm not sold. I'm not buying that, you know. Not really. Sorry, I'm looking at some photos, the evidence photos again on my phone from Twitter. P. Lola says, so if she was being abused, Would she say she didn't want to go home? Oh, that question being strange. Okay, when he asked if the law can make a kid go home if they don't want to. Yeah. I don't know. Weird, right? That was weird. I agree. Mm, I was just looking back at these photos Kathy Russin had posted on Twitter of the evidence photos. Kathy says Christina Parcells' hand shows a broken fingernail. Tex testified once she saw that they focused on fingernails and clippings. We expect upcoming testimony to be that Zachary Hughes' DNA was found under her nails. So, yeah, I'm interested to know like what kind of testimony or not testimony, evidence because DNA because if there were if there were if there were like blood DNA, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, I have to do my double glasses cuz I'm looking at my phone. Um then there he would have physical marks on him, like scratches, that kind of thing. And I want to know, did he have anything like that? Oh, ooh, Kathy's here. Hey, hey, girlfriend. Um, Let me see. When he asked, okay, I read that one. The rubber band to me says grocery store flowers. Yeah, yeah. Florists don't usually use rubber bands. No. That and the fact that there was no, because you know how sometimes they'll have like the plastic cone shaped um, wrapping around like the store bought flower bouquets from like the grocery store. Um, that wasn't found, but I don't know. I don't know. Cynthia says that defense attorney is just itching to get the victim's extracurricular activities in front of the jury. Donnie says he almost opened the door with that question, right? Why would she feel that way? I don't know. Do you think that he was leaning that way or was it more of a question of like having to do with the murder that had just occurred? Like would her answer point to a particular suspect? You know what I'm saying? Um just wondering. I don't know. I do not know. Mm-mm-mm. But the rubber band thing, yeah. I'm not I Kathy, I think everybody in the chat is basically feeling like those flowers were already there. And she just grabbed whatever was closest to her and started beating him about the face and neck with them to get away. Because they said that they weren't sprinkled in any sort of an arrangement around her or um You know what I mean? Still about 15 minutes behind trying to get caught up. Oh no. Ween Baby said, I'm just still here. I'm just here, still irritated that they named this case that. I know. They wanted to make it sound all like crime of passion, right? That's the kind of vibe I think that they were wanting to. Mm. Ooh, fun, Cynthia. Good job, ma'am. Good job, ma'am. And Kathy, if you, I don't know if you meant you're 15 minutes behind here or 15 minutes behind on the actual trial, but I was watching one of your videos, and you had mentioned something in here the other day about or maybe it was a comment you had left about the dry skin equals pause, you know? I was telling the folks in here earlier at the beginning of the stream that my TSA, because you had mentioned something about thyroid too. I would like to talk to you because on a medical, thyroid thing, because you had mentioned some stuff, thyroid support and things like that. Yeah, I think I might need to have a chitter chat and ask you a thing or two. Definitely a clickbait title, right? Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little perturbed by it if that's the case. And I'm not even going to lie, I was fully expecting that they were going to say that the rose petals were put in like a heart shape around her dead body. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Thank you, Morgana, for posting Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo's channel. Thank you for that. And you guys, she has a massive Rose Petal Murder playlist. Check it out if you haven't already. Really, really good. I was listening to a lot of them last night. Ween Baby said, this guy don't seem so creepy to me now. The ritual rosebuds made him sound like a creeper. Right? Oh, and they're back. They're back. Baby, they're back. Da 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 da. I'm going to be having to pounce out of here in about 15 minutes for kiddos math class because they're on an e-learning day today. Her math class is 1 hour earlier than it normally is because it's a snow day, and the snow day virtual days are different than her normal virtual days. I know that's so confusing. They keep me jumping and hopping with the schedules over here. Anyway, they're back from the break. Ween Baby said, now I just think that the music teacher had a big influence and talked him into it. Mm. Probably. I did. Where's Michelle at? Michelle, where are you? Michelle. Hopefully Michelle comes in soon. Because apparently there is talk about a potential alleged. Remember how yesterday Michelle mentioned maybe they're a couple? You guys, that might be for real, for real. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was more than just a musical influence, Ween Baby. If you know what I'm saying. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. Putting the double glasses back on because I can't see my phone without
Thank
them.
you, Your Honor. The state calls Tina Parcell.
Oh, this is the sister! Oh my God, this is the sister! Oh, this is the sister! This is gonna be good. They're gonna have good questions for her. Good questions for her. Oh my God, I'm so excited right now.
So help you God. I do. Thank you. Please be seated.
There's Kleenex there if you need. Just push the button on top.
It was Michelle. So sorry, Margaret.
Thank you.
Sorry, Margaret.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Tina Parcell. I go by Tina.
Ms. Parcell, where do you reside?
I would prefer not to give my home address, but I do live in Greenville County.
Greenville County?
Yes.
And what is your relationship to Christina Parcell?
She's my younger sister.
And so, can you tell this jury a little bit about y'all's relationship going back to the 2000s and kind of taking us through that?
Sure. I mean, she was 2 years younger than me, so we were close. We were different people, but we were, close in age, close as sisters. Early 2000s, she'd gotten married for the second time. I got married for the first time. We were both living our lives. We were close, but not intertwined, I guess would be the best way to put it. And we were friends, not best friends, but we were friends. We were still, young enough where all of your childhood, younger, older sister relation, all of that baggage hadn't quite gone away yet.
And did she ever begin a relationship with John Mello?
Yes, she began dating Mr. Mello, I believe, around December of 2008.
And in 2008, where were y'all living?
2008, I lived near downtown on Glen Street, right behind Cleveland Park. My sister lived at that time, in her home in Greer with her estranged husband.
And how long did Christina Parcell and John Mello date?
They broke up, to my understanding, October of 2015, so just under 7 years.
And during that time, did she have a child?
She did. She had my niece.
And when was your niece born?
June of 2012.
And so during the time in which Christina Parcell was dating John Mello, what kind of relationship did y'all have?
So they began seeing each other, again, just based off of my sister's papers and all of that sort of thing. December of 2008, I'm the kind of person I have to put things in place and time. So December of 2009, my dad had his first stroke when he was 51. And within a year, so April or May of the next year, my sister wrote a letter cutting off contact with our whole family. saying that she had reached a new place of spiritual love and needed to only have true and pure love in her life, etc.
And so around 2009, did you see her very often?
I would see her less and less in 2009, and then beginning in 2010, she cut off contact, and we didn't see her for 4 years.
So from about 2009 to 2013?
2010 to 2014, we didn't see her for 4 years.
And did y'all have the occasion to reconnect?
My sister reached back out to my parents July of 2014. My parents found out they had a grandchild, that my niece was 2 years old. My sister began reconnecting. She reached out to me. We met for, I don't know if it's lunch or dinner, but Freddie's Custard and Easley was the first time I kind of got to see her and my niece again for the first time in 2014.
And so during that time, did you know where Christina Parcell was living?
She lived at a house at Easley on 3rd Avenue or 3rd Street. I don't remember avenue or street.
And is that where she brought home her daughter?
Yes, my understanding is Aida lived with her full time. The photos I've seen of that time period, she had a room, there were photos there, they lived together.
And so she was raising your niece during that first couple of years?
Yes, and all the court documentation follows that as well.
And during that time, did you have the occasion to meet John Mello?
Not during the first few years of my niece's life because we didn't have contact. I met him maybe a time or two from 2014 to when they broke up in 2015.
Now, did they ever live together?
No, he was living with his wife at the time.
So around 2014, 2015, you and your sister sort of reconnected?
She reconnected with the whole family, correct.
And did Christina Parcell and John Mello ever engage in disputes over who had rights to their daughter?
For years, yes.
About when did that custody dispute begin?
They broke up sometime in October of 2015, and I know that she had a family court deposition in March of 2016, so almost immediately would be the best I could put it.
So about the time y'all reconnected, she was already engaged in disputes with John Mello over the custody of her daughter.
I don't believe that they were. I don't believe they had begun in 2014 when she first started reconnecting with our family, but within that next year, shortly after they broke up.
So from that point on, were you, and I don't want to say involved, but were you aware of the dispute, and did you support your sister during that time?
Well, sure. Not financially, emotionally, or because we had been estranged for 4 years. That is, it sounds so trite. It's a big hurt. That this is my baby sister, and I'm trying to find a way to put her back in my life. So, even though she was going through this custody battle, I was also kind of trying to get over my hurt feelings with her. So we interacted, but we weren't, again, tied at the hip best friends at that point.
And so as time goes on, did the custody dispute continue?
For years, yes.
And did Christina Parcell begin a relationship with Brad Post?
Yes, she did.
About what time did she begin that relationship?
Again, based on documentation I've seen in her effects, within a few months of ending things with John Mello.
So around 2015?
Yes.
And so pushing up to 2020 timeframe, did your relationship with her grow closer?
Yes, in January of 2020, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma, which is scary, and you dropped something. It's scary, it's aggressive. My sister and I met for lunch, and we're making a plan for how are we going to get my mom through this. if something happens to mom, how are we going to take care of our dad, who's had multiple strokes? And during this lunch, she looked at me and said, I really want you to be a bigger part of my life and my niece's life. And so we started consciously choosing to be more involved with each other.
And at that time, where was everybody living?
So at that time, COVID, I was sheltering in place with my estranged husband in my marital home in Greer. That's awkward, but it was. My sister, again, she rented a duplex, so when she had visitation with my niece, they would do those visitations in the duplex, and then when she was not living in the duplex, she spent her time with Brad Post.
Okay, and up until about 2020, did John Mello and Christina Parcell share custody of Aida?
Early on, I hate this phrase, but it's the only one I can really know. They had a gentleman's agreement early on about custody that suddenly nobody agreed to, so they went into court. John had primary custody. My sister had visitation, standard visitation every other weekend, weeks during the summer, time on birthday and Mother's Day, at the holidays. I think it's Richards Brown. I don't remember the name.
And so, and then during all this time, was there litigation going on between the two?
Yes, multiple times.
So I'm going to take you to about October of 2020.
Yes.
Did John Mello leave the country with your niece?
Yes, he emailed my sister and said we won't be here for the next visit weekend, can't make it to the next visit weekend, something to that effect, and missed the court-ordered scheduled visitation. Didn't know where or why necessarily until shortly after when we discovered they were out of the country.
And so in October of 2020, where was Christina living, that same duplex?
In again, March going to April of 2020, I'm sheltering in place with my now ex-husband, so super great. I decided I didn't want to do that, and I'm getting an apartment for myself. And my sister had just said, I want us to be closer, and her lease on that duplex was coming due in that spring of 2020, and I told her, I'm getting an apartment. I can get a 3-bedroom apartment. I clearly am a army of one and don't need a 3-bedroom, but if I got a 3-bedroom, then you could have your visit weekends with me, and we can spend time together. We have a playground, have a pool, et cetera, et cetera. So summer going into fall of 2020, my sister had her visit weekends with my niece in my apartment, and then she, again, was living for the most part with Post non-visit weekends or non-visit weeks.
And was Christina Parcell working during this time?
Yes, she was a vet tech.
Was she a full-time vet tech or a...
No, at that time she was part-time.
So in 2020, y'all discover that your niece has left the country with John Mello.
Yes.
Did this sort of set off a new set of litigation as far as the custody dispute is concerned?
Yes, she filed a rule to show cause in family court under the then agreement that she had, because they had reached an agreement. He was in violation of that agreement. Rule to show cause was, the family court equivalent of you broke the agreement. Once we determined where he was, and she had already spoken to family court, her lawyer, Greenville County, tried to reach out to SLED, tried to reach out to the FBI. Once we discovered where they were, started investigating, how do you get someone back from a foreign country?
And was she dedicated to trying to get her daughter back?
Every day.
So what did she do?
Once we finally figured out that there...
Okay, you guys, it is 12 o'clock. I have to run, do virtual math with kiddo. Should only be about 20, 25-ish minutes. But I will keep the stream running, and I will be on my phone and in the chat as I'm able to be, okay? I'll be back shortly.
There is a Hague Convention for child abduction, not just war crimes, but truly for child abduction. Reached out to the State Department. Her first contact was Zach, and then the second contact was a woman named April Conway. And essentially, you go through this entire application of the circumstances. You have to provide the court orders, the existing orders, that funnels up through the State Department to, they call it the Central Authority. So the U.S. Central Authority then reaches over to their counterpart in whatever the country is, because this happens for all of these countries that are a part of the convention. And then it goes down their chain. In this case, it was Italy.
And when did she start that process?
Oh, we found out where they were late October, early November. So probably November, possibly December of 2020.
And again, how did you find out that your niece was in Italy?
Her father posted a photo on Facebook of her standing in, think like a cobblestone plaza type situation. It was nighttime. There was a banner on the wall behind her that said the name Rovigo, Italy. And once we began searching down that rabbit hole, we found an online news article.
And were you having any contact with your niece at that time?
First time my sister got to speak with my niece was Christmas Day of 2020, so it had been 2.5 months.
All right, so you mentioned this Hague Convention. Did Christina continue to pursue that and in fact have some hearings in Italy regarding the ultimate custody of your niece?
Yeah, so when you go through this process with the Hague, I am not an expert, but this is one of those things that kind of sticks with you. Since it goes through the Central Authority, essentially that other country, their government is acting on your behalf. So the equivalent of Walt in Italy was representing my sister. It's not that she had to hire an attorney. The state or the nation of Italy was doing it, because this is all international agreements and arrangements. All communication was done to her through the State Department. So they channel up, it goes over, it comes down and back and forth. The State Department let her know that a hearing had been scheduled for February of 2021 and that she could attend either virtually or in person. And she called me to let me know. I was at work. She called me and I asked her if she wanted to go, and she said yes. And I asked her if she wanted me to go with her, and she said yes. So I bought 2 round-trip tickets that day.
And did y'all ultimately go to Italy for a hearing?
We flew out of Atlanta on Wednesday, March 10th. We arrived in Venice, Italy at the Marco Polo Airport. The things that stick with you. We arrived around noon that Thursday. Court was the morning of Friday. We flew back to the States that Sunday.
And were you successful in getting your niece back?
We were nothing at getting my niece back. There was no decision reached in that trip in March. They said they would deliberate and they would reach out with more information.
Now, when you were there, did you get to see your niece?
Did I lay eyes on her? Yes.
Did you get to speak with her?
And again, this is just based on what happened, not I know the rules of Italy. But when we were there, they said the mother has to go in, the father has to go in, and the minor child cannot go in. He brought her to court, and she was not allowed to go in the courtroom, and she had to stay outside of the courtroom. I couldn't go in because I wasn't a party. She was now an unattended minor in a foreign country, which is, again, not great. And they asked if I would watch her. His attorneys asked that I not speak with her. That wasn't a court order. It was just, hey, can you sit here and watch her and not say anything?
And was John Miller there as well?
Yes, he's the one that brought my niece into court for that hearing.
So did y'all ever return back to Italy again?
My sister returned to Italy. So this was in March of 2021. She, again, received notice from the State Department it felt like forever, of course, but a few weeks later, either end of March, beginning of April, there's another hearing. Again, you can attend virtually or in person. She said, I want to go in person. I asked if she wanted me to go again, and she said, no, I'll go by myself.
And so did she fly to Italy?
She did fly to Italy, give or take tax day.
And was she successful in getting the return of your niece?
At first, there was no decision reached, and they said you can leave and come back when we decide. She opted to stay, and a few days later, I can check my records for actual dates. A few days later, they let her know that they had decided to repatriate. Italy repatriated my niece to my sister. John Mello and my niece were brought to a police station. Aida was given to my sister. My sister then had to wait a week to get a replacement passport for my niece because hers had expired when they were in Italy.
While Christina was over there, did she have to hire bodyguards?
We had 2 bodyguards. When we were there, we weren't allowed to, because again, COVID, we weren't allowed to take public transportation. We weren't allowed to sit down in restaurants. So we did have 2 people that were hired to both provide some protection for that day in court, but also to get us from point A to point B while we were in court. And she had the same staff were hired when she went back.
So what day did Christina and your niece return?
April 22nd of 2021.
So when they returned, to what residence did they initially go?
They started living with me full-time in the apartment that we discussed. The lease on that apartment was up in the middle of May, so I'd already started making arrangements to, live somewhere rather than renew the lease on the apartment.
And so did you eventually secure another location?
I had made an offer to buy the Canebrake home December 17th of 2020. I'd already been trying to buy that house for 4 months.
And did y'all eventually move into 122 Canebrake?
We moved into 122 Canebrake on May 14th of 2021.
So when once y'all moved in, you and who all lived there?
I was in the master bedroom, a nice tan with wood trim and a bay window. My sister was across the hall in a not great yellow bedroom. My niece was down the hall from her in what came as a hot pink bedroom. And she was thrilled about that. So it was the 3 of us. I had chosen this home. It was large enough. There was an ensuite. You saw it in the walkthrough. The salmon colored in the back had its own full bathroom, and that was going to be where my parents could live if they needed to in the future. So it was the 3 of us.
So you talked about this custody dispute, let's call it before John Mel and your niece went to Italy,
Yes.
and now we're past that. During this time frame up until May of 2020, how would you describe the dispute, this custody dispute between Christina and John?
It was active until the moment she died. There were still hearings while he was in Italy. He did not return to the United States for the, I guess it was 5 months, 3 weeks that they were here, almost 6 months. He would attempt to retain counsel, or did retain counsel, though it attend a hearing on his behalf. There was a hearing with regards to when could phone calls happen.
Did y'all ever fear for your safety or anybody, or your niece's safety, or your safety?
We wouldn't let her play outside by herself. It is a beautiful neighborhood, an exceedingly safe neighborhood. I mean, kids everywhere. So it's not that the neighborhood wasn't safe. We just didn't want her to be playing by herself. We didn't want her to get taken. The front window, part of why we always left it open was so we could see the front yard if she was out there.
Did John Mel ever do anything that made y'all feel unsafe?
Can you be more specific with your question with regards to place and time?
Around that time.
Around that time, I can't say if it was John Mello or not. I know that my employer received an anonymous packet full of John Mello and my sister's family court documents, and I know my sister didn't send it.
About the end of June and July, do you remember Christina and Brad Post receiving some envelopes.
Yes, I didn't, many envelopes, it was kind of a flurry of activity as to had all of them arrived in our neighborhood, his neighborhood, the guardian, her attorney, her employer. It was,
Were you aware of the contents of those photos? I mean, of those envelopes?
yes.
What were the contents of those envelopes?
If it were something that existed in South Carolina, I would call it revenge porn, but apparently that's not illegal here, so.
So they were.
Naked pictures of my sister.
All right, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1 for identification purposes only. And I'm gonna show you State's Exhibits 1A and 1B. And I'm going to ask you if you recognize these photos. And I'm sorry to have to show you these to you.
Yes, that is my sister, Christina.
And then I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 6, envelope State's Exhibit 6, and ask you if you recognize photos 6A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Yes, those are all my sister.
So, y'all received these about June and July of 2021.
Yes.
Now, did your sister go to the police?
Yes, she went to the police, she went to a postal inspector.
In regards to the photos, how do you know that's your sister?
I'm going to try not to be, I recognize her, having known her her entire life. I recognize her haircut, I recognize her tattoos.
And can you give this jury a time frame of when those photos were taken?
Based on the length of her hair and again the state of her tattoos, I would say somewhere between 2010 and 2011.
And was that the time in which she was dating John Mello?
That's correct.
Now, so how old would Christina Parcell be?
She was born in 1980, so 2010 she would have been 30, 2011, 31.
30, 31.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to take you to, well, when did y'all move in? When did you move into the Canebrake house?
May 14th of 2021.
So from then until October 13th, 2021, what was life like?
Well, it was still COVID, but it was less COVID-y than it had been. So my niece joined the swim team and played her first team sport. She had friends in the neighborhood. She miraculously was promoted from 3rd to 4th grade, even though she missed 6 months of that school year. I worked downtown. My mother would come and babysit if Christina and I both had to work, or maybe our schedules overlapped. And I know that this sounds odd, but, I would text my sister, I'm coming home, can you chop the onions? I'm making this for dinner, or I'm going to the grocery. I mean, it was a really standard, we're living together and we have a kid and school and et cetera.
So I'm gonna take you to October 13th, 2021. Where were you working that day?
I worked at a company called Norris Financial Group in downtown Greenville.
And we've seen video of your car leaving. Do you remember about what time you left to go to work?
That's not my car, that was a rental, but I left give or take 8:30 that morning.
And went to work?
I did go to work, yes.
And when did you realize that this incident happened?
I had a voicemail. My phone hadn't rang, but I had a voicemail. I don't know. It's a thing that happens sometimes, and it was from Brad Post saying there's emergency at home. Emergency at the house. You need to come home. And so I grabbed my purse, walked into the hall, told my boss, there's an emergency at the house. I'm gonna go home, and made my way to the car.
And before you left for work, what was going on inside the household as far as Christina and your niece and everybody?
Do you mean
About what time did they
do you mean
wake up?
that morning?
That
Okay.
morning.
I slept a little later than normal, who knows why. And Christina had a job interview, so she was not necessarily up earlier than normal, but trying to get the day started and out the door earlier than normal. So she took Aida to school while I was drinking my morning coffee in that middle sitting room, is where we called it the den. That's where we spent our time. Christina came back. She had forgotten the school communication folder that you're supposed to bring back every week. She had forgotten that. So she came back to the house to get the school communication folder and stood in the doorway and said she had a hair appointment that afternoon and it was gymnastics that afternoon and what are we going to cook for dinner? And then she said, I love you, bye. And she walked out the door.
And when did you first hear about this incident?
The voicemail from Post said there was an emergency, and as I was going back to my car, he called again, and I again went straight to voicemail, so I called him back, and he said, it's her, I think she's dead. And so I got there as fast as I could.
So did you arrive back at the house?
Give or take 11:30 that morning, yes.
Now, in regards to your house, what door do y'all namely do you namely use to enter and exit the house, and which doors do you have keys to? Explain to this jury your front and side door.
Yeah. So I made an offer December of 2020. Less than a year into COVID, and what neither I nor my realtor knew, this house was under foreclosure. We didn't know that. And because of COVID, all foreclosures were under a moratorium. So it was in foreclosure, but they, not done in foreclosure. And we kept trying to complete the sale and couldn't get the final number that you had to have, the close number, the actual dollars you had to have. So by the time the lease was coming up on the apartment, I have to have a place to live. I want to buy this house. And so we had what's called an occupancy prior to purchase agreement, where you're essentially renting the house from the people that own it. So we had this, so I could move in before I owned the house, but it's still a rental. So we had keys for the front door only. We didn't have a key for the back door. And since I didn't own the home, I couldn't change the locks. It was a rental. So when we came and went day in, day out, we would go through that front door. That first month, more than one occasion, we would go out the back door, go play in the yard, try and come back in the back door and get locked out because we had no key for the back door. And, you know, like I crawled in through the garage one time to get in the house. So when we were home, we
When you
would,
say back door, is that the door down the side of the driveway?
yes, I would go into the sunroom, which was my office. And so when we were home, we would leave that door open, but really tried to be diligent to, lock it up at night, when leaving, etc.
So you would lock both doors when y'all were
You know,
going to sleep at night?
yes, and it's just part of that nighttime routine. You go, you check the doors, you turn off the lights, you slide the deadbolt on the front door because it had a little slidey lock, and then go on down the hallway.
So if you were going to get out of your car in your driveway and you were coming home from work, which door would you typically use?
Always the front door, not typically, always.
Always the front door.
Yes.
So it would be normal for if Christina Parcell arrived home from a job interview, which door would you imagine she would enter into?
She could only enter the front door.
So what about the curtains in the front of the front room?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, they were kept open.
And what was that front room's meant for?
So it's a standard ranch house where you have that front long skinny formal living room that nobody uses unless you're the kind of person that has furniture with plastic on it, and that's not my life. So, yeah, I see that. You know what I'm talking about. But that front window got a lot of light, so, and you saw in some of the photos, my sister kept her plants there. We had my 2 silver chairs. The neighborhood kids and my niece would do puzzles in that room, arts and crafts. My sister had a desk where she did her schoolwork that was in front of the smaller window, but it wasn't the TV room or the family congregation eat dinner room. We did that in the den on the other side of that wall.
And so when you left that morning for work, were those blinds open or were they closed?
We always left because it was always open. Blinds and curtains were always open to get lights in for the plants. We didn't keep a light on in that room, so we weren't concerned, say at nighttime, we weren't concerned people were going to see us through that window because we didn't do anything in that room at nighttime that people would see. We were on the other wall, so it was just always open.
So when, on this incident, did you talk with law enforcement about that day? Did they interview you? Did you talk to them?
Yes, I sat in Investigator Sparkman's vehicle, and he said, tell me the history of your sister, and I said, how far back do you want me to go?
Did you kind of tell them what you told us here today?
And then
More or
some,
less.
yes.
Did you tell him anybody you thought might have done this?
I said, I absolutely believe John Mello did it.
Did you know where John Mello was located?
I knew he was supposedly in Italy, but who knows?
And Ms. Parcell, have you ever met Zach Hughes?
No.
Have you ever spoken to him?
I've spoken at him, but no, never with him.
Prior to October of 2021, have you ever spoken to him?
No.
Ever seen him before?
No.
Noticed him?
No.
Have you ever seen Christina Parcell talk to him?
No.
He's never been to the house?
Oh, no. I'm not while I was there. I wasn't there 24/7, but no.
Did you know her to ever have any communications with you?
I found this week when I was reviewing all of the legal files, an email John Mello sent to my sister where he CC'd.
Y'all can approach. I'll sustain your objection, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have you ever known Christina Parcell to have any interaction with
No, absolutely no interaction, no.
Ms. Parcell, you've heard testimony here today, yesterday, that there was cocaine, a small bag of cocaine found in that front sitting room. Do you ever use cocaine?
No.
Did y'all keep cocaine in the house?
No.
Did you know Christina to use cocaine?
I've never seen her do cocaine.
And we've discussed this child custody dispute. Was there a guardian appointed to your niece?
Yes, so once my niece was taken and my sister filed a rule to show cause, which essentially opens up the prior action that had been settled, the court appointed a guardian ad litem to act in the best interest of my niece.
And would the guardian keep in contact with Christina Parcell?
The guardian was in very frequent contact with Christina. The guardian did home visits of my apartment, number one, because that's where I would have been returned to. She also did a home visit of Canebrake. I'd have to check paperwork to see if Christina took drug tests during that time. There were many over the years, so.
You know that she was asked to take drug tests?
Oh, many times over the years.
Had you ever known Christina to use cocaine?
No.
All right, Ms. Parcell, if you'll just answer any questions this council may have.
Cross-examination.
Good morning, Mr. Purcell. My name is Mark Moyer. And I have some questions for you today. Okay. So just want to start off with a little bit about your background with Ms. Purcell. You said Christina was about 2 years younger than you, is that right?
2 years, 4 days.
2 years, 4 days. And you all began living together, the first time was at the Woodruff Road apartment, is that right?
I had room in my apartment designated for her to have visitation with my niece, yes.
Okay, so y'all weren't living together at the
As I testified to earlier, she had visitations with my niece under my roof at that apartment, but my sister herself typically lived with hosts during those times.
Okay, and it
No.
wasn't until you all moved into the Canebrake house that you all were living together?
No, as I testified earlier, when my sister and my niece returned from Italy, April 22nd of 2021, my niece and my sister lived with me full time. The first few weeks, I was still at the apartment, but we moved into Canebrake May 14th of 2021.
Okay. I want to ask you a little bit about the custody disputes that were going on. You said you did not stay very much involved in the actual disputes at the beginning of that, isn't that right?
No, that is not actually the character of my testimony. What I said was that my sister and I were becoming closer and essentially trying to get closer after she had cut contact with me for 4 years. So that's not something you get over quickly.
Sure.
Or immediately.
I understand, but that kept you from staying very much in tune with exactly what was going on at that time, right?
Well, that and John Mello threatening to have me charged with kidnapping, that also had a factor in it.
Okay. And you gave up, Christina gave up custody of Aida to John Mello, didn't she?
No, I don't believe that's actually accurate, and I would like to make sure it's accurate. As I testified earlier, she and Mr. Mello had a quote-unquote gentleman's agreement, and then when my sister was not receiving the visitation she thought she was due, that's when the actual court actions began, which is not in any way, shape, or form the same as giving up custody, I believe.
Okay, but John Mello had primary custody.
I believe that the agreement was written that he had custody and she had visitation, correct?
Okay. So that was in the court documents, that he had custody, and she didn't dispute that. She didn't fight that, did she?
She had fought that repeatedly, trying to get custody, and then would reach an agreement with him.
But not initially. When that first document came out, where John got custody, when John Mello got custody, she did not,
Mr. Mello had physical custody before there was a document in that original Pickens County Family Court action. Mr. Mello had physical custody and was not allowing my sister to have visitation, so she took him to court and then reached an agreement where he retained custody, but he was not granted custody by the court.
okay, but she reached an agreement, so they didn't have to fight it out in the courts because she allowed him to have custody, correct?
That is the agreement which she reached. That's not the same as allowing, but sure.
Well, she agreed to it. That's what an agreement is, right? Correct?
She entered that agreement, yes.
Okay, thank you. And it was not until Ida was taken to Italy by John that she began trying to get full custody. Is that true?
No, they had multiple family court cases. Sometimes she initiated, sometimes he initiated, trying to modify the agreement that they had.
And it wasn't modified until after she came back, Ida came back from Italy, right?
Honestly, I would have to check the paperwork.
Okay. Now, you had met Brad Post before he started dating Christina in 2015 or 2016, correct?
He was a customer at my father's cigar store.
Right. And that was somewhere around 2000 or 2001 when you met him?
I couldn't tell you. He was a person that sat in my father's cigar store, so I couldn't tell you the first time I noticed him as a human being, no.
Okay, you worked for him for a period of time?
No, I did not.
You don't remember?
My
telling
sister
me?
worked for him, I did not.
Your sister did, but you never worked for him?
My father?
No, did you never work for Brad Post?
So I worked for a company. It was originally called eBridge Technologies. It was owned by Braddock Cunningham. It was a software company. That is where I worked. And then Mr. Cunningham is the one who began purchasing NC&E, Network Controls and Electric. So no, I did not work for Brad Post. I worked for Brad Cunningham, who purchased NC&E from Brad Post.
Okay, so if Brad Post said that you worked for him, that would be incorrect?
I never heard him say I worked for him, so I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, I'm saying if you did, he told this department that you worked for him for a period of time, that would not be true?
No, I worked for eBridge Technologies, which again, I don't want to say subsidiary because I didn't do any of the paperwork, but eBridge Technologies, that software company, kind of merged with Network Controls and Electric once Braddock Cunningham became the person that was buying NC&E.
Okay. Christina was working part-time at as a vet tech, correct?
Correct.
When she died. And Bradley Post was helping her out financially, was he not?
I couldn't give you any type of dollar amounts, but I assume so.
Was he helping with the house at Cambridge?
No.
Okay, but you all had conversations about when you were having trouble getting the house. Did you not have conversations with Christina about getting Brad Post involved to help with that?
No, I unequivocally did not want Brad Post involved.
So you never talked to Christina about, you never sent her an email or said, this house is more expensive than I thought, so maybe Brad Post could buy it and then we could rent from him?
No. So I found out October 9th, 2021, that the people I was trying to buy the home for, again, it was in foreclosure. Foreclosures were in forbearance because of COVID, and the dollar amount, the cost to close kept going up, going up, going up. My realtor called me that Saturday and said, it's got to be this much. It was approximately 10 to 15% more than I was approved for. And I told her, I can't do that, but give me a couple days. I'm going to figure something out. And so my sister and I began texting new houses to try and buy a different house, which meant I was looking for a new house at the time my sister was murdered, which means I was not trying to have Brad Post buy Canebrake so I could rent it from him.
Okay. Now, when John Mello took his daughter and Christina's daughter to Italy, he had the primary custody at that time, didn't he?
That was the agreement, and also he was to allow visitation as per the agreement he reached in family court, yes.
Okay.
And he was a dual citizen of
I
this
know
country.
he
and
claims to be a
Italy.
dual
Let me finish the
citizen.
question, sorry. He was a dual citizen of this country and Italy, isn't that true?
I know he claims to be a dual citizen. I cannot ascertain the truth of that statement.
And you know, your niece became an Italian citizen while she was in Italy.
I know he claims she became an Italian citizen. I cannot ascertain the truth of that statement.
Okay, and you talked about having a bodyguard or someone to drive you around while you were in Italy and then back here. Brad Post was paying for that, wasn't he?
I don't know who paid. I didn't see an invoice.
So, when Christina went to Italy in mid-April for the final hearing, she went alone that time, as you testified, correct?
Oh, I didn't go with her. That's correct. I understand she went alone.
And she returned to this country with Aida, right?
She returned with my niece April 22nd when they landed in Greenville.
And you met her at the airport?
Yes, I did.
The guardian ad litem was there?
Yes, she was.
Brad Post was there?
Yes, he was.
Who else was there?
Representative from Lindsey Graham's office was there. Friends of the family were there. My parents, people. My sister's neighbor from the duplex where she used to live, and her children were there.
And Brad Post was there?
As I said earlier, yes, he was there.
And he proposed to her at the airport, didn't he?
That was a choice that he made, yes.
Then there was a welcome party later that night too, same day?
No, sir. Everybody was at the airport with flowers, with balloons, with signs. My sister and my niece got packed into my car. I took them to the apartment. I picked up Indian takeout food, and we ate Indian takeout food at my home that night.
Okay, so the welcome party was what happened at the airport.
Yes.
And so just to be clear then, Aida was out of the home and gone between October the 5th of 2020 and then mid-April of 2021, correct?
My understanding is October 4th, but again, since I was not there when they left the flight, I would have to check documents.
Okay, now you all moved into the Canebrake house on May the 14th of 2021, right?
That's correct. That's when the movers came on Friday the 14th.
Okay, and you testified today something that contradicts what you told Investigator Sparkman in your interview about where everyone stayed in the house.
I was in the tan room, the master room, in the back with the bay window, right over the nook. My sister was across the hall in the yellow bedroom. My niece's bedroom was the hot pink bedroom just down the hall.
Okay, but you told Investigator Sparkman that room had been turned into a playroom and that your niece
No,
stayed.
the purple bedroom was going to be the designated playroom.
So do you remember telling Investigator Sparkman that your niece slept in the bed in the same room with Christina?
Oh, I'm not saying she didn't. I'm saying there were times that she would sleep there. She would sleep on the couch. She might sleep in her bed. And my understanding is she co-slept with her father as well.
And you told Investigator Sparkman, though, that you didn't have a room, that the room that was supposed to be for her was turned into a playroom and that she stayed with Christina.
I don't believe I said that she didn't have a room. It clearly had her toys in it, had her clothes in it, had her bed in it. Now, again, I had just discovered that my sister was dead in my house and I was homeless, so it's entirely possible I misspoke, and for that I apologize.
Okay, that was several days later. It wasn't the same day.
And again, I'm sorry if I misspoke.
Okay. Now, Brad Post would come by the house every day, would he not?
I can't say it was every day, depending on the mercurial relationship. Sometimes they were in a better spot. So there would be times where he wouldn't come over at all. There would be times where he would come over and have dinner.
Okay. But while they were dating and not broken up, as you told Investigator Sparkman, Brad Post would come over every day. Isn't that true?
Bless you. Again, not a matter of broken up. If they were in a good patch or a bad patch, as anybody is having a good patch or a bad patch, there would be times he'd be there every day, yes, for dinner or what have you. There would be times where he wasn't.
Now, you mentioned Ida wasn't allowed to play outside
No, I said we wouldn't let her play outside by herself.
by herself. So, and you mentioned that she had friends in the neighborhood, so would friends come over
play inside with her in the
Well, no,
house?
she would play outside with friends. We
Okay.
would do our best to, again, keep an eye out on her, on the friends, as any adult would do to make sure that children are going to be safe, especially with the creek nearby. So she would play in the house, outside of the house.
Okay. And her friends would play outside with her and play inside with her?
Yes.
Now, I have to ask you just a few questions about the packages that you received, that you were asked about by the solicitor. You mentioned the pictures that were in the packages, but in addition to the pictures, there were some website postings that were included, were there not?
I wasn't shown any by the solicitor.
Do you remember when you looked at the packages though, do you remember seeing the website from the escort service?
I saw that there was something textual. I didn't lend credence to it.
Okay, and again, I hate to have to ask you about this, but were you aware of that part of your sister's past?
I was aware that allegations had been made in family court, just like there had been allegations made I was going to try and kidnap my niece, so I didn't lend credence to them.
Okay, you aware that she gave a deposition in which she did give credence to those allegations?
Objection, Your Honor. Sustained.
So after the death of your sister, Christina, where was Aida?
I'm sorry, could you clarify the question?
After your sister died, where was your niece?
I would also ask you to rephrase that question to be accurate.
Okay, who did your niece live with?
Just answer this question.
So after my sister was murdered, what is the question for that?
Where did your niece live?
The guardian ad litem, after my sister was murdered, got an ex parte emergency placement with me. My niece and I stayed with friends, and that's where we went.
All right, and then what happened with Aida on October the 19th of 2021?
She was put into foster care.
Okay, and what time of day was it? When-
It was at night.
Okay, and the police came and got her?
Yes.
About what time at night?
It was approximately 10:30 at night.
Okay. How long were the police at the house on that day?
I don't know, maybe an hour, less.
And she was taken into emergency protective custody at that time?
Yes.
And who got custody of Aida?
Would you clarify the question, please?
Where does Aida live now?
Oh, I've reached an agreement with Mr. Mello right now.
Okay, so you gave up custody to allow
I
John Mellon?
never had custody, but
You dropped your petition to try to get custody?
I did not drop a petition. I reached an agreement with Mr. Mello,
Okay.
and he has custody.
Okay, you never had custody of Aida?
I had ex parte custody briefly.
Okay, and then after Aida was taken out of the home, shortly thereafter, she went to live with John Mello, and she still lives with John Mello, isn't that right?
She was not with John Mello for the first almost year and a half after her mother's death, almost 2 years. She was in foster care, and then she was in third-party placement. He did not receive custody of her until August of 2023.
Okay, and she remains with him.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And John Mello was exonerated of the charges of taking Aida to Italy, is that right?
I believe what you're looking for is a directed verdict of not guilty, not actually exonerated by a jury, yes.
So a judge threw it out, basically.
A judge said South Carolina state law says a non-custodial parent has no rights to their child. Yes, that is correct.
So a judge threw it out. One moment, please.
as we have right now. Thank you.
Just briefly, Your Honor. After the murder of your sister, where did where did your niece go?
Are you talking short-term or long-term?
Both.
Again, she was ex parte emergency placed in my care. She was removed from my care and put in foster care for 2 months. After that, she was placed with Allison and Lamar Sutherland.
Oh my goodness, her math class finally finished. Her math class went from math class into an impromptu art class. Anyway, yeah, so we got markers, scissors, blank paper. It's a thing today. So, anyway, I was listening on my phone at the same time, so hopefully I didn't miss too much good information because I had to stop and help her off and on. But hey, Brenda, I saw you pop in the chat a minute ago, but I had my hands full and couldn't type anymore in the chat. Hey, Michelle, good to see you too, friend. Good to see you too. All right, we'll get back to it.
From December of 2021 until December of 2022, where she was then placed with her half-sister Isabella Mello, John Mello's eldest child. She was there until August of 2023. And then in August of 2023, when I reached an agreement with Mr. Mello, where I had visitation and my niece was returned to his custody.
And have you seen your niece?
I've not seen my niece since August of 2024.
And do you have rights to see her?
I do.
And have those been complied with?
We currently have active family court action.
So you and John Mello are now in a family court action over the custody or access to your niece.
There is a new action, and the agreement that we reached is currently being appealed in South Carolina State Court of Appeals.
No further questions. Okay. Any recross?
No recross, Your Honor. We would just ask that the witness remain under subpoena. Thank you.
Well, Brenda, the art lesson went with the math lesson, so to speak, kind of. So, anyway. So we see all the people that was sitting on his side.
Again, no discussion about this case among yourselves. Community research.
I wish I could read lips. Wish I could read lips. Let me see if I can get it up. Let me see if I can get an update on the Twitters. Nothing really. The judge does seem really sweet, right? I like a sweet judge. But then I also like a judge that's stern and gives swift talkings tos when it's needed. Like Judge John Judge. The dude's name is John Judge, and he's a judge. Like, perfect job for him, right? He was the first judge that was assigned in the Brian Koberger case. He, however, is too nice. So thankfully, they moved venues and have a different judge. And this judge in the Brian Koberger case now, he ain't playing. I know, Miss King, right? How does he have perfect, clean, beautiful hair? Some of the women who come to court have greasy, dirty hair. Well, I mean, we've seen all of the different people that come in, and I'm always like, God, they look like they just rolled out of the bed. And he's just like perfectly polished. I can't get over how pretty he is. His hair is beautiful. He has beautiful hair. And it's just so neatly, like, kind of puts me in the mind of the 80s flybacks. Y'all remember the flybacks, right? Lord, Lord, Lord. Lord, Lord, Lord. I don't know what time they're going to be back, because I'm sure they're on their lunch break right now. Right, his beard is all nicely groomed too. Coiffed. How do you pronounce that? Flock of seagulls. Oh my God. Let me see. If I can get... Okay, good, Michelle. I didn't know. Sometimes you just don't know, right? Hold on, I'm looking on Twitter for updates. Brenda said Cynthia, an unkept beard literally makes me gag. Um, yep. All right, you guys. Michelle said my hubby gets beard club for men every month. That's cool. I try to always get my husband like beard stuff for like holidays, birthdays, that kind of thing. 'Cause he, you know, likes to keep it. And he goes for a haircut. My husband goes for a haircut every 2 weeks. And so usually every time he goes, he has the guy that does his hair trim the beard stuff too. So yes. The whole beard oil stuff though has made like a huge like little niche, the last few years. It's like the whole beard keeping thing is like huge industry right now. and has been for the last few years. Hubby let his go wild first, but I got that, and now he takes the vitamins and uses the shampoo and oil and comb. Yeah, my husband has his little shampoo bottle of it in the shower for his beard, and it's so cute. It is. It is. In look and feel, it feels good too. It's so funny. Oh man. I'm waiting to see when. Well, I guess I could go. Hold on a minute. Let me. Hold on a second. Let me stop sharing for a minute. Hey, Cherie. How are you, dearie? How are you, dearie? Let me go into the chat and see if they said. Oh, here comes the yawn. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Hey, Eileen. Love beard grooming. I agree. It's definitely I don't know, it just looks a lot better, and it's much softer when he takes care of it. All right. Let's see if I can find in their chat. Here comes the sun. Dun, dun, dun. I'm looking through the chat on Long Crime to see what time they come back from lunch, but I'm not seeing anything. Oh, wait, Kathy posted a while ago. They broke for lunch. I'm finding out the return time. So let me look for Kathy's return time in the chat. Sorry, guys. My get up and go has went up and gone. But I'm still waiting for a time for when they're coming back from lunch. Kathy Russin on Long Crime said she was looking for a return time, so that way I'll know. I mean, if it's going to be another hour and a half, yesterday it was. They were out for lunch for like an hour and a half. Here comes the sun. Dun, dun, dun. People keep asking how long is the break. Just catching up. How long is this break? How long is this break? How long? Oh, look at that. I missed Margaret. Sorry, I was on my other tab, so I couldn't see the chat. Look at that. A member for 6 months. Margaret says, yay. Yay. Yay, yay, yay. Here we go. And I always like to give Margaret this too. Just because it's my favorite. I like it. I love it. I want you more of it. Morgana says, Margaret, you're not locked in the break room, are you? Mm-hmm. Ooh, what green drink? What green drink, Michelle? Ween Baby's on a 15-minute break. Oh, are you at work today, Ween Baby? Aw, I'm glad I can listen to y'all. It's keeping me sane. Oh my God. Yes, she needs it. Margaret, in case you missed it, Michelle just said, I saw a wine glass on Amazon last night that had a sippy cup lid. I thought of Margaret. My husband can grow a nice beard, but he doesn't use products. Like he won't put any in his hair or on his beard. Aw. He thinks everything is like acid or something. That's funny. Oh, hey, David. Good to see you back. He says, hey, y'all. Yeah, I'm back. Late start. I had therapy. Ooh, I need therapy. I need some therapy. Could you throw some therapy my way? I could pay you in glitter. And I can also pay you in cute, angry little girl gifts slinging hairbrushes everywhere. I mean, you know. No drinking on the job, Margaret. True. You love glitter. I like glitter too. Well, if I have to be honest, I like glitter that's not like on me glitter. I can't handle, like if I see a piece of glitter on my face, it suffocates me to death. I can't stand it. Mm-mm. No. What is that? I've heard of it, but what is it? Um And David comes in with that question. No, surely not. No. Uh, mm-mm. Blech. Virtual glitter only. Yes, please. Are you is what Ween Baby's talking about for real? I have questions. Like maybe she's talking about under eye bags. I ain't Googling it, Michelle. No, ma'am. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. I had to Google the word buggery to figure out what that meant for this case. That's enough for me. That was enough. Oh, okay. It's for hands. Okay. I'm okay then. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Morgana said, I need some hag balm, not bag balm. Whatever. You stop that. You stop it. Here comes the sun. Da, da, da. Okay, Kathy Russin says lunch break until 2 p.m. Eastern time, which means our live stream will start around 2:30 because of the 30-minute delay. So there we go. That means about an hour and 20 minutes from now. An hour and 20 minutes from now. Michelle said my puppy knows I'm sick, so he wants to sit in my lap. To sick or sit? Because that's two different things. Brenda said I've yet to find some hand cream that actually helps. Excuse me. I just burped. So I have this. I have this. I use lots of different things. Like I've got, I almost said amoxicillin. That's not it. Aquaphor. But I also have this. Well, if the light would quit being so goofy. It's called Vanna Cream. This is good stuff too. So, oh, thank you, David. I like my glasses too. However, look at this. This happened, what, guys? I still have not got my glasses fixed. Look, I broke the whole arm off. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But they still work. The udder cream is really good too. Michelle. Well, to be fair, I mean, these are very sturdy glasses. These are very, like, I love my glasses. These are my favorite glasses too. My favorite. And I got them from that place I told you about, Michelle. I don't know what happened. I mean, the arms are metal. I mean, they're not cheaply made. These are very nicely made glasses. But what broke was, like, for some reason, like right here where the metal end right here, you can't even see it. The metal end right here where it's curved, it's like the plastic just broke right there. So it must have had, I've dropped them 100 times. So maybe there was like a little hairline fracture or something. And what happened when they actually broke, what happened was I had gotten out of the shower, put my hair up in a towel, and I went to put my glasses on, and I was trying to scooch them in between my ear and where the towel was like sitting above my ears, and it just snapped right off. So I was like, oh my God. I was like, no. It was not good. Ween Baby says back bomb. Okay, now she had to pause, and now she's back live, and now she's like, why is everybody talking nasty stuff? Bag balm. It's for dry skin and cuts and burns and everything skin related. Skin ointment. Ween Baby's behind. A little bit. Michelle said, well, I got bifocals and it was like right at 100. So that is that cheap? I didn't pay near that from that Zlul place. Zlul, whatever. But I also didn't get bifocals. I'm sorry, I should have said that. Mine did not have bifocals, so. Oh, wow. 300. Okay, well then, yeah, that's a big chunk off. Do you like them? Have you got them yet? And do you like them? So it's butt butter. Ew. Okay, Ween Baby's like, if the bag balm doesn't heal your skin ailment, then you need a doctor. It works on everything. Slather it on before bed. I actually, David, I do have bifocals, and I have a pair prescription, progressive, whatever, but they're not right. And so I never wear them. And yeah. They have called their own funeral, right, Cherie? I will buy more, but just wanted to try these first. Just finally acclimated to the new prescription and love them now. So on my bifocals that I have, because usually what I do, David, you're new around these parts. Hold on, I gotta go get them. I left them over here. Hold on just a second. Let me grab them. Okay, so I'm back. Let me get a swig of coffee real quick. Hold on. Mm-hmm. That coffee is ice cold. It is 1:15. I could have had creamer in my coffee an hour and 15 minutes ago. I'm going to go do that in just a moment. Oh, Lord, Michelle says, ha ha ha, wait for this, David. Oh, she wears two pairs at the same time usually. I do. Oh, Margaret, I'm glad, honey. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. I love it. So my bifocals that I have that I paid good money for, the reading part, the bifocal part, is not the right strength. And I think that they're also not like in the right place. I don't know. Anyway, I gave it a really good go. Okay, I gave it a really good go. So, what works for me is my seeing eye glasses, or what I call my seeing eye glasses, which is for distance. And these are my bifocals. This is what I do. I sit like this most of the time. Oh, well, see, David knows. But see, I can't switch Because the readers do me absolutely no good without these. I have to have these too in order to, I have to wear two. Michelle hates it. She says I look like a bug. So, 9 times out of 10, I'm sitting like this. And eventually the readers will slide far down enough where it pinches my nose together. But that's okay. I don't care. No, they were no lined. No line bifocals. No line. I can wear them, but I knew you were, Ween Baby. I knew you were quite a ways behind. Yeah. It was a little more than lagging. Yeah, David, I have to wear both. I have to wear both. Like to see you on my screen, I look through my distance glasses. But if I'm also reading my phone or on my phone or checking my phone at the same time that I'm like streaming, I have to have these on. Or I'm going like this the whole time and it's just annoying. So anyway, I wear two. I'm usually running around the house like this all the time. Anyway. So. And half the time I forget that I even have these on. It's just natural. I wouldn't go to town like this. Like, I wouldn't go to the grocery store like this, obviously. But when I'm walking through the aisles and having to read cans, the back of packages and stuff, I'm doing this number, you know? Like, Lordy, I hope not. Lined bifocals, do you think it would help? Why do you think it would help? Oh, okay. So you have to have your readers to see the computer and everything else. And your phone. But my regular glasses for everything else. Kel's catching up. Yeah, please don't go to town like that, says Morgana. Ween Baby says, I think I need bifocals. I was trying to read something the other day and it just wasn't happening. Well, that's when I knew. I was like in my mid to late 30s when I started catching myself doing this a lot. I was like, and when I started having to do that, then I was like, I don't know. Lined made you nauseous. Sherry has the multifocal contacts. I've heard people that have those love them. I don't know. Michelle said, I've worn glasses since I was 3. Bifocals caught me at age 50. Well, I think I was in the 4th or 5th grade when I started wearing glasses. And then eventually, whenever, my mom thought I was responsible enough to use and wear contacts, then I started wearing contacts. But the older I got, the more like dry my eyes became, and I got to a point where I couldn't wear contacts anymore ever. Like, I would try, but oh my God, they were miserable for me to wear no matter what. Like, I kept putting like saline solution in my eyes off and on all day, and no, it was not. Mm-mm. My eyes would get so dry that the contacts would literally just fall out. Oh wow, disposables, fresh pair every day. Wow. I had mine were disposable too, but they weren't like everyday disposable. I think they were like weekly or something. The hard contacts, yeah. Ugh. David said he's had to wear glasses since kindergarten because his eyes are too bad. A trash can lid's on her eyes. Ouch. Ugh. I never did try the hard contacts. Nope. I was really bad about falling asleep or going to bed with my contacts in. Like I wouldn't take them out this was when I was like in high school, and I would sleep in them. I never took them out, which is really bad. But anyway, that's what I did. And yeah, I would wake up with them all like folded in half back in the back of my eye, and I'd have to, I was horrible. Yeah, Morgana, I've seen people do that too. Pop them out, put them in their mouth, and put them back in their eyes. Ew. It was bad and set me back multiple prescriptions. Meh. Mm-mm. It's enough for me, you guys. It's enough for me. I keep getting notifications on my phone from the school app because today was a snow day, and um today was a snow day, and so I keep getting the like extracurricular activity notifications is canceled for today. This ball game is canceled for today. This practice is canceled for today. I'm like, my child isn't in any of that, so why am I on the list to get those notifications? Cherie said, I didn't start wearing glasses till I was in second grade. I needed them when I was 6 months old, but then, of course, they didn't know much in the 60s. I started wearing bifocals in my early 30s. Just give me my glasses. I don't even want LASIK. David said, I would love LASIK. I wouldn't mind LASIK either. I wouldn't mind. But it's just, I'm fine with glasses. I've worn glasses for so long now. They're just like a part of me, you know? So they don't bother me. And my luck, it wouldn't work, and I'd still have to wear glasses of some sort anyways, even if it were reading glasses. So it's like, why even bother? You know? Why even bother? I can't do it because of the combo of near and far-sightedness and astigmatism. Wonder if Medicaid pays for LASIK, lol. I wouldn't think they would. But also, you never know. anymore. You never know. My hands are cold. It is chilly. Chilly. That was not somebody at the door. I set my coffee cup down, and my dog thinks that there is somebody at the door. There's nobody at the door, Poppy. God love her. She's my watchdog. She scared me, though, when she did that. When she barked. Very, very scared me. Very, very scared me. For some reason, anything to do with your eyes is considered cosmetics. Or cosmetic. Just like my boobs, said Michelle. Weenie Baby says, do a deep dive of LASIK. Ain't no doctor coming at me with the laser. Cynthia says, I believe Medicare does pay for LASIK. She's saving my life. She thinks she is. She's still not in here. She's sitting in there near the front door. Like, I dare you. Knock on the door again. Which nobody knocked on the door. It was me setting my coffee cup down. She's so cute. Sherry said, I wear contacts because my glasses are thick and make me look funny. I'm sure they do not make you look funny. But I get it. Cherie says, I can't do LASIK because my eyesight's really bad already. Plus, I have one eye that sits lower than the other due to an eye injury that happened when I was 3. Aww. Do you know I had an eye injury when I don't know how old I was. I was young enough that I don't remember it. So I had to have been pretty young, right? But a cousin accidentally stabbed me in the eye with a fork. Yeah. True story. True story. But it wasn't, it sounds worse than it really is. So what happened was the family, they had come over for dinner. And, I mean, I'm just going by what I was told growing up. Because I don't remember it happening. But thank God, right? That would be very traumatizing, I would think. But anyway, my grandma did, Michelle. My grandma had a glass eye. He played ball in the house and looked up when he threw a ball into the light fixture overhead. Oh, no. Crazy. My uncle popped it out to scare my boys when they were young. Yeah. My grandma would not do that. She wouldn't do that. I bet they did. But what happened with my cousin was they were here for dinner, like I was saying, and we had dinner, and my cousin, he's like 2 or 3 years older than me, and he was, I guess, picking up like the dinner plates around the table for whatever reason, and he had a fork in his hand, and I was right behind him, and he didn't know it, and he somehow or another turned around real quick, and I ran into him, and the fork went like right, it didn't go in my eyeball, it went under my eye, like, under the actual eyeball. And like my mom said that my eye was pooched out real big with like a pocket of blood under it and stuff, and took me to the emergency room, and everything was fine. I don't know, but yeah. To my knowledge, my eyesight was never affected by that, but yeah. Creepy. Ran into a marble coffee table. That was my grandmother's, and that was before I had glasses. Eesh. Oh, goodness, wee baby. Ween baby said LASIK doesn't work. It has caused people to self delete, and the flap they make never ever heals. Why would it cause people to self delete? What in the world? Why would it cause people to do that? I'm confused. I'm learning all kinds of things today. I do not know. I do not know. I'm waiting on Ween Baby to answer me that question because I'm confused. Yes, I still have this sticker on the bottom of my cup. I think it was like the price tag or something. The label. I have washed this cup. It's been through the dishwasher. I can't tell you how many times. I've had this cup for like 5 years. Or longer. Maybe not. Maybe 3 or 4 years. But anyway, that sticker is still there. It has never come off. Michelle said, having worked around surgeons for so long and being injured during a surgery, I am very nervous about things like that. No back, eye, or brain surgery. David said, my cousin had it and she loves it. Didn't have any issues with it not healing. I know a lot of people that have had LASIK and loved it. But I don't know. Mm, I do not know. Unalive themselves because of the constant pain after LASIK. Wow. Like having a million needles in their eyes. That's weird. I've never heard of that before. David had back surgery 25 years ago. Hey, Caroline. Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum. Mm, I bet. Cynthia said she told me she was so happy to wake up and be able to see. Mm, that's crazy, right? Crazy. My goodness. Oh, my goodness. Hmm. Wouldn't that be something, David? To not have to reach for a pair of glasses before you even get out of the bed? Honestly. I would be like, whoa. It's a whole new world. All right, you guys, I need to Caroline said I've had LASIK, but did you know it only lasts till around your 40s? So I was only glass free for 4 years. Oh no. I can't sleep in mine, ween baby. I used to. These are too uncomfortable to sleep in. I've had some that I can sleep in, but David, the sister, testified. Christina's sister, the one that lived in the house with her and the daughter, testified this morning. So you definitely want to go back and watch that one. And also, if you're into crime scene photos, there were some crime scene photos of the inside of the house that was shown. So definitely scroll back if you want to catch those. Caroline, you didn't get picked. Daggone it. Daggone it. Too gory, David. Well, yeah. Ween Baby said I didn't either. I didn't even get to go to the courthouse. Daggone it. How far back what, Michelle? For the crime scene photos or the sister? That was what, guys? Hour and a half ago, maybe? I'd say about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, Something like that. Because we've been live for 3.5 hours. 3 hours and 35 minutes. Yeah. Let me go back. And look. Dum bum ba dum bum 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 ba da ba dum bum 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 bum. I have a couple different options because we still got about an hour ish before they come back. And there are some things I need to do. So here's the thing, okay? Like I told y'all at the beginning of the stream about my thyroid, when I get done with stream time in the evenings, I'm pretty much done for the rest of the day. And like I have no more fuel in my tank, right? And there are some things I need to do house-wise. Like I need to take care of a couple loads of laundry, and I need to take care of a sink full of dishes. So, while I have the energy during the early part of the day, I'm going to go in there and take care of those. So, before they come back from lunch. So, the three options that I'm giving you guys is, do you want me to rewind and replay, I don't know, maybe Michelle the crime scene stuff? David might be like, nah, I'm out. Or, and I can just like keep this stream going, and we can replay from that part on till about lunchtime and then go back to live time. That way I don't have to cut the stream. Or do you want the other option? Number 2 is put it on intermission screen with music, feeding the ducks, yo, which would be about 40-50 minutes worth of intermission time. Or cut the stream and come back for stream number 2 after lunch. Option 1 is rewind. Option 2 is, or option 1 is rewind and replay part of the crime scene on. Or option 2 is intermission with music. Option 3, cut the stream and come back at 2:30. Gail says, I know exactly what you mean, Jenny. I don't have a thyroid and my energy gets depleted, and at night I'm done. I dozed in my recliner, drives Steven crazy. Literally. I get up early, right? And I get a lot of work done before I start streaming for the day. But once I get work stuff done, then I stream. By the time my stream is done in the evening, which is usually 6 o'clock or later, depending, between 5 and 7, I'm usually done streaming for the night. Then it's, dinner time and getting kiddo ready for bed and all that, and I'm just done. Like I can't even. I'm done. Energy wise, done. Okay, so what have you guys said in the chat? Let me see. I mean, literally, yeah, Gail. Like, while I have if I'm gonna get any house stuff done, housework that requires my physical doing of things, like laundry and dishes and houseworky things, I have to do that during the day when I've got energy to do it. Because in the evening, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything. Michelle says, I don't have thyroid issues, but I'm 54, so that's my life now. I got to start exercising again now that my shoulder is improved. Well, that's good. That's good. All right. So we have a replay, a feeding the ducks, a couple of 3s, a 1, another 3, a 2. I feel like the 3s are outweighing. We have a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Bum, 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 bum. I'm looking. Wean Babies is actually a 2. Here, let me write these down. 1, 2, 3. So Wean Babies was a 2. Miss King's was a 1. Michelle and Henny are 3s. Cherie is 3. Caroline's a 2. Sherry, 1. Gail, 3. Alright, I think the 3s are the winner. I think the 3s are the winner. So that means I'm going to come back with stream number 2 then at 2:30. Okay? That's what we're doing. Hey, Brenda. Brenda said I was gone. What are we doing? So what we're doing, Michelle's got a timestamp. Crime scene photos are at 2 hour and 54-minute mark, if that helps. Really? That's how far back it was? Okay. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and just schedule stream number 3 or 2 for 2:30. Okay, for after lunch. So let me do that real quick, and then I can send you guys the link. Then I can run and get some stuff done, and even grab some lunch, because goodness knows I need some coffee with creamer in it and lunch, because I'm hungry. Hungry. Hold on, let me go prepare a link real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got it. Here's the link to head over at 2:30. Okay? So I'll see you guys in about 40 minutes. All right? Make sure to hit the thumbs up on this one before you leave and go to the new one. And when you get to the new one, make sure you hit the thumbs up there too. I'll see you guys soon. Hashtag replay if you're watching on a replay. And also, what was I going to say? Oh, subscribe if you're new. And click that notification bell. Okay, I'll see you soon.